People will tolerate a bad image if it has good audio, but they will not tolerate a good image if it has bad audio. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I use and how I use it to record my short films and my projects, and also the scenes I record for actors for their portfolios. So let's get into it. So the first thing you should be concerned about is how to record your audio to begin with. We'll talk about microphones in just a second, but how do you record your audio? You have to make a decision. Either you record your audio directly to your camera, or the one I prefer, you record your audio with an external recorder. Just like this one. Right now I'm recording this video with this Tascam Portacapture X6. It has an XLR mic connected to it, and it's booming me right here. And this is pretty much how I record my dialogue scenes as well when I'm recording short films and stuff like that. Anyway, that decision is very important, and my advice to you is if you can't afford it, you should get an external recorder, because first of all, the preamps are going to be much more efficient and silent than your cameras, and it's just good workflow, as I said in previous videos, to separate your audio from your image. So first rule of thumb is get an external audio recorder. If you have no alternative, you can record into your camera, but it is not as simple, and it will require a lot of cables. Not a lot of cables, but converters. If you have an XLR mic, you're going to have an XLR to TRS converter, and those cables can get really messy. Sometimes it will introduce noise. So again, it's not really recommended that you use your camera to record, but if you have to, go for it. I will leave affiliate links of all the gear that I'm talking about, and also some suggestions of audio recorders and mics that you can get that are more reasonably priced, so you can get started in making your films. The big advantage of a recorder is that you can input at least 2 XLR mics, and you can also input a stereo, a lavalier mic, like loads of kits that you see out there. I personally use the Hollyland Lark Max 2. So if you browse YouTube enough, you'll probably see people talking about shotgun mics to use this and that. But there are different kinds of shotgun mics, and you should be very, very careful with what type of shotgun you buy, because there are shotguns that are more appropriate for indoor shooting, and there are shotguns that are more appropriate for outdoor shooting. So this is a Sennheiser MKE 600. This is a shotgun and specifically designed to perform better in outdoors, where the sound will not bounce from these that you see here that compose the capsule of the microphone. They are designed to filter out audio that might come from the sides and from the back, but mostly from the sides. And what happens when you use one of these indoors is, because of the walls, especially if it's a small echoey room, the sound will bounce all around and go back into the capsule, which can then, introduce problems with your audio. So it's not completely advisable to use this indoors, but most of the time, well, at least some of the time, you will be fine with it. But if you can, you should get a shotgun mic for outdoors and a shotgun mic for indoors. And I'll insert some shots of this mic that I'm using right here, which is a shotgun mic, also called as a pencil mic, that you can use indoors. And it does not have all these protections on the side. And it's more suited for indoors because you won't have the audio bouncing back into the microphone as much. I'll show you some B-roll as I'm talking about this microphone. This is an old microphone. I got this microphone about 20-something years ago, maybe 25 years ago. It wasn't mine. It was part of a production that I did on a TV show back in 2005, 2006. So yeah, 21 years. And I've kept this microphone for all this time, and for the longest time I thought this microphone was broken, because it was, when I connected it to anything, it had this humming issue, and always this, like, it was getting static or electricity static from power cords or anything, but I just couldn't get around it. Finally, I found a solution online. It was just a matter of tightening a screw, and it's completely working now. And this is a pretty old microphone, but as you can probably hear, it is working flawlessly, and I'm now using this microphone as opposed to this one for indoor dialogue, and I will be using the MKE 600 for outdoor dialogue. I cannot link you this one that I'm using because it's discontinued. It's a very old microphone, even though it works perfectly well. It's not really in the market right now unless you look it up on eBay or something like that. But I'd probably recommend that you buy something a little more recent even just for longevity purposes, just to get something a little more recent. You can find loads of pencil mics that will be suitable for indoors. I will, again, as I said before, I will link a couple of them below if you're interested in getting some of these. So these are the mics, okay? So if you're recording either outside or inside, these two types of mics will do the job for you. Now, before I go on and talking about lavalier mics and all that stuff, let's talk a little bit about mic placement, okay? So what you want to do is the exact thing that I'm doing right here in this video, which is booming the talent just off frame as close as possible, okay? This is 101 in audio recording. You need to have your microphones as close as possible to the source of sound. So in this case, if you have a static shot where you're doing a coverage of two or three actors talking in a scene, and you're doing individual coverage of each actor and their respective reverse shots and all that, what you want to do is you place your microphone as close as possible without entering in frame, obviously, and work from there. If by some reason the actor has to move in the scene, what you do then is you have a boom operator which will basically follow to the talent around in the shot. But if you're working alone, that's where lavalier mics come in. So lavalier mics are great. I'm using, as I said, the Hollyland Lark Max 2. These are great lavalier. This is a great set. But as I've said before, you can get different types of microphones of this nature. This one is in the mid-range in terms of pricing, but it's a really complete set. It comes with two transmitters, one receiver. It comes with audio monitoring system. These two the little headset that you can use as monitors for your audio. It's really useful. It comes with tons of adapters you can attach. You can either use the capsule, the transmitter, as a microphone, or you can attach a 3.5 millimeter jack to connect to lavalier mic. So that's all important. That's really important when you have actors moving, at least in my experience. If they're going to move a lot, you probably should lav them up. But laving them up is not as simple as it seems, because you might introduce some ruffling sound. You're hiding the mic beneath the clothes. You might introduce some sound. So there's a few techniques that I will talk about in this video where you can hide the mic and keep it from introducing any kind of sound rustling in the clothes, in the shirts and whatever. What you want to do is use the shotgun mic because the audio tends to be cleaner, less muffled. You will need less work in post-production, and generally the audio is just going to sound better to the voices and all that, because as lavalier mics, they pick up sound from everywhere, so it's a little trickier to have decent sound unless you're really, really good at miking them and really good at post-production, which some of us aren't. I'm no expert in audio whatsoever. This video is just me talking about my own experiences recording audio for films and short films and portfolios for actors and so on. So what you want to do with the lav mic is you want to I use gaff tape. There are Rycote sells appropriate stickers that you can stick to your talent and hide the microphone and kind of buffer it, preventing any sounds that may be introduced by this ruffling of clothes and all that stuff. But I personally use gaff tape, and how I use it is I stick the gaffer tape on the mic and I glue it to the talent, preferably under the clothes, on the skin, in this little chest area right here, okay? And then what I do is I introduce another folded, double-sided gaff tape, and I press that against the mic, and I press that against the clothes, so it becomes glued together and it won't move. This has worked for me 99.9% of the time, and is a well-known technique. Some people do really nice little shapes with those little gaffer tape pillows that they create for the microphones. This is how I do it. If you're gonna get lav people up, do it that way, and use wireless systems that you can buy affordably. The prices these days range from $50 to $500/euros, so you can find something within your budget, and it will probably work very well. Even the lower tier wireless systems tend to work pretty well. The advantage of the more expensive systems is that they have 32-bit float, which is nice, but if you get a recorder with 32-bit float, that will not be an issue at all. 32-bit float, in case you don't know, is a recording mode on which you have a lot more audio dynamic range, thus making clipping or even when you're speaking very low to be lost or have a lot of noise because you're pushing up the gain, and you can easily bring down those clipped or so sound waves down without any distortion or anything else. So basically 32-bit float is kind of the raw in image, in cameras and videos, but the audio version. It gives you a lot of latitude, and you can basically not worry all that much with your audio gain when you're recording, and you'll be just fine with 32-bit float. So if you can, again, get the recorder with 32-bit float and get a lav system to go along with it. And if you don't have 32-bit float, just get a 24-bit usual recorder, and it will be more than enough for audio. You just have to control your gain, and that's fine. People have been adjusting gain and adjusting levels for ever in the film industry, so it's nothing new. You just have to get good at it, and there are tons and tons of videos on YouTube teaching you how to adjust your gain and capture very good audio without 32-bit float. 32-bit float is just like this little buffer that you have to make mistakes in your audio capture. So once you've recorded your dialogue, your action and everything, at the end of the scene, what you need to do, and this is very important, is record room tone. And what is room tone for? Well, room tone is what you're going to place underneath all of your audio and effects and dialogue and all this. It's kind of a sound bed that will kind of mask all the cuts and edits that you do on your audio, because when you're dealing with different people and different microphones, levels will vary a lot, and some people will speak lower, some will speak too loud, so you have to adjust the audio levels. And sometimes when you do this, you will introduce some little bit of noise, or it will be very noticeable when you go from one clip to the other, and that's what the room tone that you capture is for, is to mask that. So my recommendation is always record room tone, record 1 to 2 minutes of room tone, and this just simply means everyone on set shuts up for 2 minutes and the audio recordist just records silence for 2 minutes. It's just capturing the room tone. This is very important for post-production, so don't forget to do that. And if you can, and if you have a recorder that has those 2 mics that you see in many recorders, use that to record, because it will be a stereo recording a lot better than mono. If you're interested in learning how to direct a simple dialogue scene, I have a video about that on my channel, and also a video about how to edit said dialogue scene. You can find all those videos on my channel if you're interested. And right now, I just have to thank you if you stuck this long in this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope this has been a useful video for you, and I will see you next time.